Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by my blog today. In this video, I would like to share the first step in the process of working with a box of very old negatives from the 1900s. I inherited this box of negatives from my grandmother after she passed away. We went up into her attic, and it was one of those old attics filled with insulation, kind of creepy, spidery, kind of scary. And underneath a big pile of insulation, we found this box, which contained old negatives from the 1900s, early 1900s, I should say. And neither my mom nor her sister wanted anything to do with them, so naturally, I jumped on them right away. I wanted to bring them home and see what they were. At that time, I didn't know much about family history at all, so the negatives have just kind of sat around our house all this time. I've from time to time pondered how to deal with them because they were the very old, large size negatives that you can't really get developed these days. And at one point I took them to a local photography place to see what they could do for me, and it was going to cost an arm and a leg to have them converted into digital files. So I decided I needed to figure out a way to deal with them myself. So that's really the genesis of this project. So a few weeks ago I dove into this box to see what I could find, and the first thing that I noticed is that a lot of the envelopes have writing on them, which is really wonderful. I'm not absolutely sure who the writing, who wrote these labels, but whoever it was, I do appreciate it. I suspect it was my great-great-grandmother. And the labels gave me at least some context for understanding the photos, so that was very helpful. A good number of them didn't have labels, so that's a bit problematic, but I do appreciate those that I do have. So my first step was I wanted to get them out of the cigar box and into a safer situation for archival storage, so that in order to work with them, I wouldn't have to continually handle the negatives themselves. So I looked online and I found on Amazon a variety of different sizes of archival sleeves that are designed for negative storage. So I looked at the negatives that I had and determined I had basically 3 sizes. And so I went out and purchased a few packages in those sizes, and they worked great. So essentially then I took the negatives from the box, put them into sleeves of appropriate sizes, and then I finally put all of those sleeves into a big binder. So now I have the negatives in a situation where I can just pick them up, hold them up to the light, and really see what I've got. So basically I took the information on the label, on the envelope, typed it up and put it on a label. And I attached the label, I stuck the label onto each sleeve so that I would have a record of which negatives came from which envelope. And so I wouldn't lose that context, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So now when I go to try to figure out what the heck is on all these negatives, I can just simply pick up a whole sheet of them, hold them up to a light source, and now I can see them and decide if I want to pursue them as opposed to touching each negative individually. So I think this is long-term going to be a much safer storage situation. Even if I did nothing with them from here, at least they're more properly preserved. So I found these negative sleeves to be really helpful, and they're not super heavy, they're easy to work with, and they hold a lot. So as you can see, I have quite a number of negatives in the sleeves, and now they're super easy to work with. So I'm really pleased with how this project came out, and I'm very excited about the next step. In the meantime, I have done a little bit of research and figured out how to convert these negatives into digital files, and so in my next video I will show you how I'm going to do that. So stay tuned for that one, and hopefully if you're in the same situation as me with all these old negatives, you'll get some ideas as to at least what has worked for me. Thanks for watching today.